What's up, guys? Just giving everyone the usual 30 seconds to a minute here to stroll in. I don't think I really have a ton of stuff to go in depth on tonight, being with the selling and kind of the way things close. There's not like an abundance of A plus setups out here to really dive into, but just kind of recap a few things and dive into a few setups that I'm gonna have my eyes on in the morning. Starting about 30 seconds or so here. DBook Nation, DJ DBook. I need to make a separate Spotify account that's not a personal account and cook up some playlists. Man's has I mean Showy on the intraday live streams, his little DJ thing, and I swear every time Showy gets on and starts playing Heat, everything ramps. Like the second he got on, I think Upstart ticked up like the same minute. So, I mean, we'll stick with it. I'll get rolling here. This is recorded. I guess people can catch up. 1 second, actually. All right. So, Carvana CVNA was a name I wanted to keep an eye on tomorrow. Um, this is obviously kind of in the meme short squeeze realm of things. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure that theme is over. There's still been a ton of momentum, especially BBIG after hours. That was a sweet trade, sweet entry by Man's after hours. We were on that Twitter space and it was ramping to like $1.90 almost, and it was crazy. But so I'm not sure like the momentum in that realm of things and kind of that basket of names, the meme names, highly shorted names, and past runners is totally quite over. So I do want to keep an eye on it. And Carvana's one that caught my eye. This is a similar pattern to what I've really been hammering home the past several weeks on Carvana. Is this post earning high volume move up that was a plus 40% day on Carvana. So obviously a massive day on massive volume, and then really we've seen some declining volume and nothing really relatively even close to this volume that took this formation up. So to me, I still think this is one to watch, especially with it being 28% short, being really the perfect name that could run along with some of these squeezes and some of this momentum trading we've seen. I don't have any overnight exposure to this name. It's just something I do want to keep an eye on, especially since it's holding this 48.10 level. And I marked this, I believe, from this daily candle high right here. And so that's just kind of the level I marked there. This daily low is 48.05. So really 48 psych up to 48.10, kind of that area. Carvana is still holding that level, and that's kind of like the neckline I'm working with here on this flagpole, like ascending flag type pattern on Carvana. That's the level I'm working with, kind of that 48 psych to 48.10, and we're still holding that level. It's still consolidating above it on exactly what I look for is declining volume. They tried to blow it off the top here. I think we traded it this day, and it was a sweet trade, but ultimately like that breakout failed, and that was after this day. I didn't love Carvana as much. Obviously, I didn't think it was like one to really watch closely off of this increased volume blow off the top move. But really, I think what matters is what comes after that, and that was consolidation, even almost another breakout attempt to put in new highs here. But ultimately, it was low volume consolidation and no selling that's really even come close to what took the move up. So to me, that's still a chart that has a bullish trend building for it, and really the perfect name at 28% short to keep an eye on. I'm not over the moon about this setup. Like I said, there's just not a ton to work with. So this was one that caught my eye and really fit the theme well. So Carvana CVNA will be kind of in my top five tomorrow. And then let's see what What else was I gonna? Oh, Vuru, and this was one I entered a. I'll pull up the weekly here so we can kind of see the way it's testing this previous weekly high, this previous all-time high, I believe. Let's fact check that. Yep, previous all-time high for Veru, Veru. This is a bio name. They have a COVID drug, a COVID pill for treatment, which I know seems maybe a little outdated, but there's still companies that have those treatments and drugs in the pipeline, and they're still worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So obviously a huge catalyst for Veru. And you guys can see right away the way we're testing. If you go back all the way to February 2021, which was obviously kind of peak euphoria for the market and a lot of biotech, really anything in February 2021. So the high on that really blow off the top move here was 2250 or 2457, and we consolidated, and then they have this COVID pill in the pipeline, and it's through pretty much all of the trials and everything. They're just waiting on the FDA approval, and they gave an update on their earnings report, which was right here. That they gave forward guidance on the FDA ruling, and said it was going well. So that was obviously a super bullish catalyst for the stock. And when we look at the volume here on Veru, we see that huge volume here, and that was a plus 243% week. So that kind of gives you an idea of how quickly this stock can move, because I think the float is, let me look. Yeah, so the floats, and this is another one. It's 34% short according to Finviz, and that's just what I use as kind of a barometer. I think that's what most people use, so I think that's the number that kind of matters the most. 34% short, and only a 60 million float. So it's a name, again, that can move super quickly. They can have huge moves. 51% last week, up 25% this week. So, and when you look at the volume on Veru, you can see we really haven't had any type of follow through volume on the breakout in terms of buying, like a real explosion of buyers and a true breakout move, which is crazy to say, I know, because it is up 25, it's up 75% or whatever the last 2 weeks. And this is what I said around like $17. I don't know if anybody was seeing in the chat, like 17, 18, 19, 20 last week. I was saying this volume was starting to increase here, but it really wasn't any true like follow through breakout buying volume, right? Because when you look over to this April 11th weekly candle, I mean, that's massive. And so, not saying the breakout volume or the buying volume would match that, or really even get up to it. Potentially could, especially with the market we're in and the short interest on this name. But I mean, I would expect at least up to a volume bar up to this halfway point, at least for true breakout, blow off the top, all-time high breakout euphoria volume. And especially with Sava too, SAVA, another bio name, really squeezing hard and doing a crazy move. I think this is a great one to watch in the next 2 days. I know the contracts are a little spotty, but being a month on the week of the monthly expiry 8/19, I think there can be some liquidity, especially with it being a runner too. So the implied volatility, the IV is probably through the roof. But I mean, I'm willing to trade the contracts with it being a monthly expiry. So those weekly Veru contracts are going to be on watch, and it'll be a super simple all-time high break level too of that 2457. And this is also another great example of how really no price action is random, and by really paying attention to your daily, weekly, and even sometimes monthly highs and lows can give you like almost to the penny levels of confluence. And that was 2 cents. Today's high was 2 cents below that previous high over here. So always looking left and knowing where you're at. Kind of a perfect example here of how you can look like a genius from really doing not that much. You can look like like 2 cents off off that top tick, and really all you had to do was look over here and see this confluence here. So that's going to be kind of a momentum play. I don't know if it'll be like a full size trade I would take, obviously, because it's such a volatile stock. I'm not like sure how reliable that options chain is. It's playable. It's a monthly expiry. Probably a lot of IV. So probably closer to a lotto size entry, but it's going to be a name I'm watching through that level at 24.57. Let's see what else I was. I had one more name to talk about. Oh, UPST Upstart. This one obviously didn't go the way I wanted to today. It got that ramp. I don't, depending on when you entered, I was in basically from yesterday and kind of buying before that ramp. But let me zoom in here. Yeah, I mean, I made a amazing trade on Upstart yesterday, and it essentially rolled like half of those profits into the 45 calls, which are now obviously pretty OTM, but ended up being a losing trade for me today. I got that awesome ramp in the afternoon, and I think off of both the entries, kind of I shared off the lottos, both of those entries saw nice pops. Just all depends on when you were kind of buying and selling, but at the end of the day, I mean, Upstart's still a inside bar setup where the high and the low of today was completely inside the high and the low of the previous day, because we had that huge spread yesterday, that pretty like dominant bullish candle here that was engulfing and had a wide spread and have an increasing volume, was the reason that I wanted to play Upstart today. And so inside bar on lower volume, it's not a perfect setup, but I do still have those lottos. It's one I want to watch. It's 37% short, which like isn't nothing. That's like probably top 10 on the short interest leaderboard or whatever. But it's still one I want to keep an eye on, especially since it showed that potential for what it can do the past two afternoons. It ramped off the bottom super heavily 2 days in a row. Today's move didn't stick, but it's definitely shown that it's in that umbrella of highly shorted names, growth stocks that have the potential to make a huge move. And only because it's an inside bar on relatively lower volume than yesterday is the reason I do want to keep an eye on it. And it's one that can move quickly. And this volume shelf right here, you can see on the volume profile, in between this $34 and $32 range on Upstart, there's a lot of demand. So for it to really break below that 32 level, it would have to be pretty heavy selling pressure, and then it would be pretty apparent to me that I either needed to cut or not take any new entries, and that it's not really a trade I want to take. So as long as it holds that 32 level, I do want to keep an eye on Upstart, UPST, just because of that demand shelf here. There's a ton of support in that range, and it is an inside bar, and falls perfectly into that theme of kind of highly shorted names. So that's honestly kind of all I had for you guys setup wise. I know Man's put out his focus list. There's just really not a lot to kind of pick from in terms of setups I want to play that are apparent to me. I'm sure there's several out there. It's just not the most bullish looking daily setups. It's just one of those nights where I'm not sitting here charting 20 different names going crazy. But if you look on QQQ, ended up being a red day on the Qs, 1% down day, and we saw that increased volume, which I was kind of looking for. This is kind of, I guess, the start of what I've been talking about. I've been saying as long as the daily charts are holding up and as long as there's no real selling pressure like shown in the volume, that I was going to be bullish, and I'm still staying on that game plan, and I'm sticking to daily charts and taking it one day at a time. I don't think it's, especially right now, the best time to have a ton of overnight exposure. I have a few positions right now, but really nothing that I would be, concerned about right off of open. Like my day's not going to be ruined off open if those swings don't pan out for me. But this is kind of the start of the first increase in volume. So I think it's going to be important to pay attention what the indices by QQQ are doing on a daily time frame, and which direction that volume dictates. Because if we're starting to see this increase, and if tomorrow ends up being kind of a sell-off day, you could probably expect to see, maybe volume up to this type of zone, and just in terms of the size of the volume bars here, and some increased selling pressure. So we do want to see which direction the volume dictates, because it's kind of the first increase in a while, and the first down day. So and you can see even on these 2 days it was relatively lower volume to what was taking it up, so it wasn't the biggest red flag, and we were able to bounce back off of that. I think that was probably CPI, but just not a lot of TA, I guess, to scan over tonight. I wouldn't say my pedal is to the floor right now. I think it's maybe a time to be patient off open, and really let things develop. I think the last few days I was taking positions right off of open. I think this morning I took those upstart lottos for over 100% within the first 5 minutes, and that was because of the way the daily charts looked and the way everything was set up coming into that day. But I don't think tomorrow is really a day where I'll be slapping crazy in the first maybe even 15 to 30 minutes. I really want to be patient and let things play out, and see if any of that momentum is still there for kind of the short squeeze meme type plays, because I think even in after hours there's still stocks making crazy moves. I think it was PSTV was the small cap. I think it was some random bio that got a grant, but that went 200%. BBIG made that huge move after hours. I know, I think Mans and myself are watching Chewy, just with that being kind of a Ryan Cohen name. He is a Chewy guy, so off of him being in the headlines a lot, dumping those BBBY shares, and kind of being the name in the meme squeeze space right now, I think Chewy's definitely one to watch, with him being attached to that. So we'll see if that trend develops at all, and then if there's any really momentum left for these type of moves, because for the most part, I think most of the TA is pretty cautiously bullish is kind of the vibe I'm gonna have. So we'll see. If you guys have any questions you want to drop in the YouTube chat, I can run through those on any tickers maybe too, because I've been so busy after hours, and then we had that Twitter space. I haven't had the most time to maybe there is something I'm missing. If anybody has any questions about anything, I can answer those in the YouTube chat. If not, that's okay too. Let's see what BBY looks like. Yeah, I mean, I don't have all of my AMD levels down, but I have been super interested in the chips, and you guys can kind of see. Let's see here. You guys can kind of see this little window that AMD is trading in between this 97.50 all the way up to kind of that 100 psych, 100 plus. So I think this window for AMD, just in terms of the volume profile and liquidity wise, this kind of 97.50, I think what did it close? 98.27. I think this zone up to that 100 psych, 100 plus is a pretty nice liquidity little zone there. The technicals aren't bad either. And you can see that the volume on Nvidia is still declining, so there's really no red flags on that daily look for me yet on NVDA, which is another semiconductor. So that volume's still declining off of this was a guidance, I believe, guidance revision, but that setup isn't. I mean, it's still intact. Let's look at QCOM. You got me interested in the chips. And I like QCOM too because this is QCOM's I guess totally not exactly what I've been talking about to a T, but this formation in general, I bet it looks better on a weekly look. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think that's this supply shelf right here or demand shelf right here is important too. The chips are definitely something to keep an eye on, I would say. Let's see MU. MU's a little less, or a little more bearish there, but yeah, I would say AMD's definitely a good long side trade up to that 100 psych 100 plus. So, is there any way I can see your volume profile settings? Yeah, I've tweeted that the settings for my trading view volume profile like 300 times, but I will post that tweet on my channel because I know not everyone has seen those. So, if you want to have this on your charts on TradingView, I will post that. But I think that's all CCL. We could look at travel. Decent. I mean, it's still set up as an inside bar coming into this demand shelf. Let me see the rest of travel. Delta hammered right off of that key level. And if you guys remember the stream from either last week or the week before, I was trying to play Delta, I believe, off of this candle. And day traded it on this candle. I ended up getting stopped out for like a small 20% loss, I believe. And then it gapped up and ended up filling that gap fill that I was looking for up to 35 and some more. So I guess that one got away from me a little bit. It was more of a gap up play too. So yeah, travel looks interesting. My thesis on SPY, I really don't. That's kind of why I don't have a ton of setups really to share for you guys or tonight or like a master plan for tomorrow. I think it's kind of play it by ear and be patient and let the action tell us which direction things are going to head and which direction we should be playing. I have, like I said, light overnight exposure. Um, and SPYs, I mean, this is a neutral setup to me. It's not anything really bearish in my opinion or the most bullish look in the world. It's a pretty neutral daily look on SPY. Sorry, I'll zoom in. And so I know my levels are all over the place. I kind of just delete them and do them all over again sometimes, but this is a pretty neutral look to me on SPY. I'm trying not to like think too hard or devise some grand plan because there's just a lot of noise right now with macro and the Fed and a lot of things. So I'm just trying to follow price action, limit my overnight exposure, and see what's leading intraday. Is really as simple of a game plan as I can put it. Is risk off overnight for the most part. You know, I have a few positions like I said, but light, and then just seeing where the momentum is intraday and being able to day trade right now because I just really am not, like I said, over the moon about the daily look. So that's kind of the plan. And I think that's all I've got for tonight. Wasn't the most in-depth live stream, but two days left this week. Like I said, I think there's still maybe a little bit of steam left in that short squeeze kind of meme theme, and then also the chips too are attractive to me. So we'll see where all of that goes. I think our eyes are still in the same spot with Coinbase coming into that support, and then a lot of the other, like I said, Carvana, Upstart. Still gonna have my eyes on that, and we'll see how things play. But that's all I've got tonight, and we'll see you guys in pre-market for that 7:30 a.m. By the way, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Me, Willard Meat Sauce, and Showy Trades are doing like a little morning prep call about an hour before. So if you guys want to tune into that in the Discord, we'll be there. And that's all I've got. Peace.